Hello, my name is John. I like guitars and I am in Japan. That's why my YouTube channel is called Guitar Japan. So today I'm going to talk about the Positive Grid Spark. But before I do that, I have to say that this video is sponsored by Tomoki's Magic Honey Mustard Dressing. Ordinary people eat store-bought honey mustard dressing, but magic people eat Tomoki's honey mustard dressing. For John, homemade. Thank you very much, Tomoki, for making this fantastic honey mustard dressing. I know it's going to be delicious because I tasted your honey mustard dressing in the past. I love it. It's great with hot dogs. You can put it on salad too, but I especially love it with hot dogs. Thank you very much, Tomoki. I shouldn't say sponsored. Brought to you by Tomoki's Honey Mustard Dressing. Yoo-hoo. Okay. The Positive Grid Spark. In the news a lot. Guitar news. And especially if you're like me. A hobbyist. I'm a hobby guitarist. I'm not a pro, been in a band for forever and can really shred up the guitar. That's not me. I'm trying to get out of beginner land into intermediate land. I'm out in the cold, outside the house. I can hear the music inside the house. People having fun, partying in there, playing their guitars. I want to get into the house. That's my job. I'm a hobbyist and that's what I'm trying to do. So, I play guitar and things like that. I practice as I can and, I'm mostly at home, just doing my thing at home. So something like this is appealing to me because, as it made a big splash at the NAM show, the famous NAM show, and that it was kind of this dual amp, where a modeling amp, so you can get lots of different sounds out of this amp. Instead of having to buy like the real deal, you could hook it up to the app, which let me do right now. So get that app going. It says, "Let's get smart, connect." Okay, let's do that. Let's connect. So it should be connecting to the Bluetooth. There's a blue light on the back that's showing that the Bluetooth is on. So now they're trying to make friends. Spark connected. Right on. Let's go over to the clean tone. Okay, clean tone. And I'll just play with the settings in a minute so that we can do a little bit of a test on it. Coming back to this side, the hardware here, you've got the amp. Apparently inside are two 4-inch speakers, and I have never taken this off, but I'm going to try to take it off now. And I think this was, how much was this? About $250 or something? It's supposed to be on, just attached by Velcro apparently. Oh, it is. There it is. So attached by Velcro, two 4-inch speakers. Here's the grill for it. Just on there with Velcro. I mean, that's nice, right? Two little 4-inch speakers in there, and this thing's just on with Velcro. I'm not sure why, but it makes me think, because as I'm going to say in this video, one of the things that I'm not really happy about is some of the sound that it makes. And I'll get into that in a minute. On the top, we have all of our dials, and I'm gonna, well, I'll do it right now. The way I usually have this amp set up is, I should put something underneath there. I'm gonna put this little thing underneath so we can get some sound. I usually have it tipped over like this. I have it back there and I have it tipped over like this. Just so that I can quickly access knobs if I want, or push, especially these four are kind of the important ones. This one is kind of a volume for the auxiliary out, headphones out. which, you know, can make a big difference depending where that little knob is. This knob is for the guitar sound. And then obviously some, you know, adjusting your levels and your effects and stuff like that. I'll show you, actually, I'll show you the back too. It's upside down, but there's a little light for that shows that Bluetooth. This is an auxiliary in, which is useful because when you're doing Bluetooth music, sometimes I'm in bed or something and I just want to hear, you know, play some music or something from my phone to this thing, and it'll do that. It's bassy though. It puts in a lot of bass, and that's kind of my big gripe with this thing, and I'm gonna come around to that. The Bluetooth though is separate from the controller that I just activated. I just activated the controller to manipulate the amps and the pedals and things that are kind of working in software conjunction with this thing in real time. That's one aspect of the amp and the app. And just totally aside from that, you can run, you can just connect from Bluetooth, like you would connect to a Bluetooth speaker and play music and things like that. It's kind of like two things happening at the same time. At the moment, I'm just doing the app, and it's connected over here to control it as if like I'm going to run through like a whole bunch of different amps and pedals and stuff, things like that. Well, actually, I'm not going to do that. It can do that. So the auxiliary in though is nice if you've got a cable that can go from your phone into this thing. You'll get a better sound, actually, than what you'll get with the Bluetooth. Then there's also this USB deal here, and I guess you can connect it up to like a DAW, D-A-W, digital audio workstation thing or whatever, plug into like Logic Pro or Ableton or something. I don't know, I guess that's what it's for. I haven't actually tried it. And then your power. So that's the back. This strap, obviously a nice big strap on there. How heavy is it? I would say it's like a couple of big bottles, like 2 liter, you know, if I had a couple of bottles of water. Yeah, it's got some weight to it, but you know, it's not gonna kill you. Okay, so I'll pop that up a little bit. This is how I usually have the amp set up. I've got the dials facing forward when it's back there, and I usually this thing can come off. I usually have it just sticking in back so I don't lose it somewhere, and keep it out of the way. Why do I do that? Because people who make amps, people who use amps, like to put stuff on top of the amps. And when there's a strap in the way, it's no good. So I can get it out of the way, and I can just lay stuff on there if I wanted to. Not doing it right now, but yeah, there it is. So this is it, and this is a metronome kind of thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the light changes to the beats per minute that I'm trying to do, I guess. And then these 4 things are whatever I program into the amp, like whatever kinds of sounds. So clean sound, I think the way I've got it set up right now is like a clean sound, and then an Albert King blues style sound, and then I've got like something that approximates the Black Keys. They usually have a lot of grit and dirt on their guitar tone. And then over here it was more like, I think it was more like AC/DC land, and I'm not too sure about where it is now, but in any case, you can program, like, you can set up those 4 things as you like. Alternatively, you can just toggle through the whole bunch of different types of amps and pedals on the app, and whatever channel you're on, regardless, like whatever you decide to set up on your app, as long as they're connected, that's what it's going to switch over to. Nice feature, obviously. Over here is kind of interesting. You've got acoustic bass, what does that say? Clean, glassy, crunchy, or crunch, high gain, and metal. Those are the different settings. I usually have it on crunch. I kind of like the British sound, that bright British sound. That's kind of where I go to for almost anything. I haven't really played around with those things. These dials, so what have we got? We've got gain, bass, mid, treble, master, mod, delay, reverb. So when I activate whatever, I choose whatever amp, I choose whatever sound in here, and it'll bring out the presets on here. It means basically don't pay attention to these dials at all. It'll work off of what's on the app. But as soon as I tweak a dial, that particular setting becomes active according to the dial. So if I want the bass out and I start turning the bass, all of a sudden the app and the amp are communicating and saying, hey, your user is toggling the bass there, and it adjusts accordingly. But if you don't touch them at all, it's just working off whatever the settings are in the amp. If you got an iPad, it's even better. I've just got my little smartphone here. That's kind of how the amp works. And then there's other stuff in here that I won't go into about like play along stuff. There's got like video, apparently you can video yourself, and there's like an icon of a person, I'm not sure. I have not been using this amp very much. Why John? Well, why did you buy it if you're not going to use it? That's the question, right? So that's kind of what this video is about. I also have back here, I have a big Marshall amp for acoustic guitars, AS100D. So that obviously puts out a very clean sound, because when you're running an acoustic guitar, you just really want to hear the sound of the acoustic guitar. And you can tweak it a bit so that the sound that it produces for the acoustic guitar actually makes your acoustic guitar sound better. It makes like $100 acoustic guitar, that I picked up, used, and fixed up. You can make that sound like it's a Martin, some pristine Martin or something like that. That's by changing some of the settings on here. You can do some of that. I've also got over here, I've got a Vox Ac 15. It's turned backwards. Same deal. I want access to the knobs because it's kind of high up, and if it's turned the other way around, the knobs are in the back. And when I'm doing videos and stuff, it's kind of hard to get there and change a setting or something. So I've got to turn the other way around. And you can't see it, but behind this amp are pillows. And the reason I put pillows there is, well, one, because these are windows there, and I thought, oh man, if I'm putting some volume on that, it's just going to go out into the street. I'm not sure, I'm not that great of a player, so I'm not sure if they'll appreciate that. So I put some pillows there, but the real reason why I put pillows there, actually that's half the reason. The other half the reason is it lets me put the volume up more and get some more of that push on the, to get a dirty tone or something like that, but still lets the volume inside this room not be insane. This thing is kind of loud. It's AC 15, okay, but it puts out a lot of volume. This is a 40 watt. That's 15 watt. That's really loud. And this can also go loud, 40 watt. 100 watt, man, I've never even cranked that up because that would just break my house apart, I think. Anyway, so those are my amps, mostly, and then, but obviously the topic is this one. So why don't I use this one? Like what? So at first I had the acoustic one. Obviously, it doesn't work well with an electric, which I've been getting into more recently, the past year. So I thought, I've been graduating up my amps. I went to this thing, and I was like, man, it's just not doing it for me. I'm not getting the sounds that I want. Yeah, and I'll start playing in a minute, but it was always like, there was a couple things. Bassy. And I'll put a link down in the description. Most people never talk about it. Even the people in Guitar World, YouTube World that I really like and watch a lot, and they've reviewed the amp and they're talking about how great it is and things like that. They almost never mention the bassy aspect. But there's one guy who has, so I'll put a link to his video as well. So it's it's not just me saying this, but that there's a lot of bass on it. And these other people, they're like reviewing it and saying great things, and And they never mentioned it. I was like, well, okay, well, you know, I actually own the thing, and I could tell you, yeah, it puts a bunch of bass in. But that was one aspect. And it's strange because it's just got those little speakers, right? It's like, why is it so bassy? And then you end up like totally turning down the bass and totally turning up the treble. So one aspect is an overabundance of bass, and another aspect was like the quality of the sound. So I'm not a great guitar player, but I've got pretty keen ears, and when I was playing it, I was like, wow, it kind of sounds like it's in a closet. How do I take that sound and get it out of the closet? It sounds like, you know, I'm playing the speaker, or I'm playing the amp, and I've got it away in a closet, and that's the way I'm hearing the sound. And I don't want the sound hidden behind those doors. I want it to come out. I want to hear it. So I, you know, before long, that's what I was picking up on. I was like, man, what's going on? What's this? And I was like, how do I get this to come out? How do I get this to come out? And so I've been playing around. I had been playing around with that, and then what happened is I ended up, you know, tooling around this thing, Logic Pro. This is an audio interface, so I can plug my guitars in and things like that, and that connects into the computer. And so it started. I was never wanting to do, you know, run my computer and run music through my computer and things like that, but I did. I ended up doing it, and then because I wanted to jam and stuff like that. And I have a pedal. I'll get into the pedal another day, but finally I figured out my loop pedal. But anyway, I'll get into that another day. So I just wanted to jam because I'm a hobbyist. I'm at home. I want to play. Da-da-da. So I got this audio interface, got Logic Pro going, and Logic Pro, like this, lets you experience a bunch of different amps and different sounds. And Logic Pro has even more. So this is about $250, and I think Logic Pro is about $200. If I put I forget how much I paid for that audio interface. Let's say, I don't know, let's say $100, $150. I don't know. So, but I was getting into Logic Pro. So the cool thing about this type of thing, Spark or Logic Pro, the software, is it lets you sample, or basically sample. I don't know if that's the right word in terms of guitar terminology, but in terms of like a human being trying different stuff, it lets you sample lots of different amps, lots of different sounds, lots of different pedals. And I don't know a lot about pedals. You know, I've made some bad purchases with a few pedals that I don't use. Hopefully that'll come back around and I'll use them someday. But finally I was like, okay, I understand now better what kind of sound I like, what kind of amp I like. And, you know, I lean toward more of the British sound, that bright British sound, kind of crunchy sound. And so that's how I ended up getting this AC-15. It's used. I bought it used. Got a really good deal on it. Just found it online, and you know, I bought it. I'm in Japan. It was here in Japan, and I like the color and things like that. If I turned it around, you'd know better. But yeah. So that, you know, the software, for example, the Logic Pro, going through all of the different types of amps. And then even on this thing, I was like, okay, I'm gravitating toward here. I'm gravitating toward here. And that's how I ended up getting this thing, which I'm very happy with, because that's the sound that I like. I still don't know how to use it properly, how to like really get what I want out of it yet, because it's like a fantastic amp, and I'm, you know, I am where I am. So I'm still, you know, making friends with this guy, but I'm very happy with that purchase. And so something like this and the software, they helped me to identify that. All right, that's kind of the long story background, and it brings us to this thing here today. Should you buy it? Should you not? So I'm an owner. Obviously, I own this thing. When I started making this video, when I was thinking to make this video, I thought, man, I'm really gonna bash that that Positive Grid Spark, and I'm gonna put, like, in my title, it's gonna say Positive Grid Spark. No! Exclamation mark. Unless ... But actually today, for the first time in a long time, I started fooling around with it, and I'm like, oh man, it doesn't sound as bad as you know, that I've been thinking for a while, and I don't know what the deal is. What's going on today? I don't know. Maybe he knows that I was gonna put him on YouTube today, so he's behaving like differently. I don't know what. But why don't we listen to, like, I've got it on the clean setting here. So the gain is at 12 o'clock straight up. So instead of saying 12 o'clock, let me go. It goes from 0 to 10, the settings. So the gain is on 5, the bass is on 5, the middle is on 5, treble, it looks like it's on 6, volume is up there, it looks like it's up there around 9 or so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it on out of this thing, and then I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to plug in, like, the headphone part. I'm going to plug it in. It's going to go into my clean Marshall amp. It's just going to go into the auxiliary. So whatever signal is coming out, you're going to get it just like kind of cleanly coming out of the auxiliary input into this amp. If I put it into another area, then that would be like, you know, I could change the dials. Shouldn't do that anyway, but so it's going into the auxiliary because you could, you know, damage the electronics, but it's going into the auxiliary. And let's check. So the Marshall amp, I think, has two like 8-inch Celestion speakers. This has two 4-inch custom speakers. Let's see if we can hear some difference. I'm not I'm not a pro player, so all right. Let's hear what it sounds like. That's the clean one. After I'm gonna compare it to the Vox after. So I'm plugging it in. I'll switch over to a crunchy version, and then a British crunchy version, and then compare it to the Vox. Now let's compare that sound to the same amp but pumping out through the Marshall speakers. Sorry, let me do that again. Now coming from here. Right, let's do it one more time. Coming out the Marshall speakers. Coming out the Spark speakers. Sorry. There it is. Let me switch over to the Crunchy Crunch. Go to rock. Go to British accent. Alright. Double click. Let's get in. Oh, there we go. So the settings here, the gain is maybe at about 6. The bass is at 5. The mids are at 5. And the treble, it looks like it's down at like 3.5 or 4 or something. And the volume's at 5. That's the British Crunchy Crunch. And what's going on there? We've got a drive pedal engaged, a noise gate engaged, and a reverb engaged. Okay, get this thing going. Go through the Marshall speakers. So again, what we're doing is we're just switching the speakers. So like the amp part, the electronics part is the same. We're just changing the speaker output. Sorry for the bad play. Okay, that's coming out of the Marshall. Let's go back to this guy. Okay, so that's kind of a little bit of a comparison between this amp and then like same, you know, the workhorse, power horse part, charging up the speakers on, you know, much better speakers on the through my Marshall versus the, you know, how it goes from its electronics to the speakers that it has. Obviously it sounds better out of the Marshall. I don't know if that's coming through on YouTube, but it sounds better on the Marshall for sure. Sounds kind of muddy here. It's got more bass than I would prefer, so what I would probably do is tweak, like take out all the bass, turn up all the treble. Why don't we do that? Take out all the bass, put up the treble. And by the way, I'm using the bridge pickup. It's a P90 pickup. And the volume's all the way up, and the tone's all the way up. So that's kind of the best that I'm gonna get out of what's going on right now. Maybe on the drive pedal there might be a thing about turning up the treble or something like that. I don't know. But let's go compare it to the Vox. Okay, so this is obviously a British amp. That British accent, the British crunchy thing, which this is trying to do. Sorry for the interruption. The memory card in my camera filled up. It's a huge, I feel like it's a huge memory card, 128 gigabytes of memory. But I think after about 20 minutes or so, it starts to, that's about all I can handle. I'm doing anyway. So, anyway, I took my card out, put it in my computer, downloaded my computer, put the card back in, and we're up and running again. Here we go. Oh, gotta get this. Let's just stop playing with that. Great amp. Great amp. I love this amp. You just get a lot more articulation of the sounds that you're playing. So this is just like an Epiphone. It's called Epiphone Dot. How much? Probably under $500 in the US. I bought it in Japan, but so different price. But it makes like this guitar. It makes it sound like a superstar, and you get a lot more. Again, that articulation of all the different sounds going on, and then if I'm playing chords even, there's a lot more sound landscape, I suppose you could say, coming out of the Vox, because it's real deal valve amp, and so on and so on. I guess there's a reason why they're so popular. I love it. But this thing and my computer, the Logic Pro, helped me to identify that that's where where my interest lied. Not in a Blues Junior or Fender Blues Junior or something else, Marshall or whatever. It's we'd go that direction, and that's what I discovered, and that's where I went, and I'm super happy about it. So coming back to this guy, should we do another sound comparison, crunchy to crunchy? Why not? Crunchy to crunchy. So here's the Vox. Ha! Alright. I really like that amp. Oh, stand by. Alright. Going over to the positive grid. So that cost me used about $400. This thing new cost me about $250. If I remember correctly. Yeah, okay. So you were hearing some rattling there. I have some picks in that little box there. That's not the amp, that's just the picks bouncing around. Okay. So yeah, that's it. So originally this video was going to be positive grid spark. No! Exclamation mark. Unless ... And so the unless part was, how to get this thing sounding like it's not in a closet. How to get it so it's not so bassy. Ba-ba! I think this is the magic bullet for that. this is a 10-band EQ pedal for the guitar. You plug it in line and out and going into here, and you can take the bass out. You move you move the knobs down here, take the bass out, put the treble up if you want. You can shape your sound before it gets into the amp, and you can make it sound better. You can just get rid of all that bassiness. I would show you, let you hear, but I broke this. Like in the first 15 minutes of owning it, I broke it. And you know, online they say, oh, I've had mine for like 85,000 years and it hasn't broken. It's like so durable. Da, da, da. Well, it came to my house and I broke it. So that's not the problem of the pedal though. That's me. I was playing around with all kinds of configurations, trying to get, this room is weird. It gives me this high-pitched sound. And so I was trying to get rid of that, and that's why I bought the pedal. And then I even went so far as like, oh, my amp just not plugged in is giving me this whiny sound. So I'm going to take the speaker out, plug it in here, and then plug it back in and loop it around and have it come out. Da, 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 da. But these things, by the way, people in internet land who like guitars and like pedals and like playing, and if you're a newbie like me to this world, don't plug in high voltage things into your pedal. It will break them. This is the second pedal. I've got another one down there that's busted. Too much voltage, man. These things are just designed to take a little bit of the electrical signal out of your guitar. Very weak little electrical signal that gets generated between your strings and the magnets in your pickup. And that just pumps out, like flows, trickles down out through your cable and goes into this thing and then amplified. Right? Obviously that's why these things are called amplifiers. Amplifies the signal, makes it louder. So these things are designed for really weak signals. They're not designed for like a high lots of watts coming out of our voltage. I don't know what the correct term is. Coming out and into the amp itself, or into the pedal itself. It's like having a fireman's hose and trying to fill up like a balloon, right? And you turn the fireman's hose on full, you're just gonna break the balloon. That's basically what I did. I contacted people at Dunlop, and they've been very nice. They said, okay, we understand that you're an idiot. You can't help yourself. Send it our way. We'll fix it up for you. So let me do that. But I think this is, my point being, I think that this paired with this is going to be really good. And so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm probably going to take this into my workplace. Maybe get another little something to be able to play it over there, and have my setup here. And I think that's the unless part. This is the unless part. I think if you've got this EQ pedal and you can shape your sound before it's going in here, I think you'll get really, really great results. You'll cut out all that bass in there. I don't know about bringing out the closet part, but so I wish this was working because I could really tell you. But I think I had it going for maybe like 2 minutes with this thing. I was like, oh, the spark sounds good. The spark sounds the way I want it to sound with this thing. And then I fudged it up. But yeah, this might end up being a really good little workhorse for me over when I take it to work. Pair it up with this thing, and yeah, that's it. And then it's got a lot. Obviously, it's got a lot of different options for sounds, different amps, different pedals. And if you don't know a lot about that, it's a good world to be in. Like starting with this thing, you'll find what you like. Do you like clean? Do you like crunchy, dirty, like I do, with not much bass in there? Do you want something more on the metal? Heavy metal side. I don't even know the different names for the metal, but like that chuggy chug 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 chug, whatever they're doing, because apparently it's supposed to be able to do it. I'm not sure, but it's got lots of different options in there. So the Bluetooth is kind of bit of a pedal. This guitar pedal is not going to help you with the Bluetooth, getting the Bluetooth going on thing. Getting too much bass in that. I really wish that the company would just fix the whole bass thing and make it more like a normal amp, I guess, in terms of where the levels are when you just when everything's at 12 o'clock. Not too bassy. I don't know what the deal is there. I feel like they're overcompensating for having the small speakers. Maybe it sounds great with a bass. Here's a bass. I don't really play bass. That's my son's bass. He doesn't really play bass. He plays drums. But it might sound great with it. It's already bassy. Maybe it sounds fantastic with a bass. Who knows? That's it. That's kind of my review of the Spark as a real owner. Telling you the real deal, at least from my experience. Today has been better than other days as I've gotten back onto it and I turned the volume up a little bit more, and I'm not as chagrined. I'm not as disenchanted by the sounds that it makes. But as I was playing, then I did remember a couple things. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that closety kind of sound. The sound is buried into something. You want it to come out. You want it to come out. You're like, come out. And so you end up playing with it to try to get the sound to come out. And then, then the bass thing. And I feel like the pedal is going to help with that, and we'll see how it goes. So if you're going to buy it, it's $250, fine. In some respects, buyer beware, because this is what I'm telling you now. This is the purpose of this video. A little bit buyer beware. Know what you're getting, and then. But if you don't have too many options in terms of what you can buy, as a beginner, it's good. Why is it good? Because you can waste a lot of money on different stuff only to realize it's not the stuff for you. So something like this, or what I was doing with the Logic Pro on my computer, it let me try a whole bunch of different sounds in my house, different types of amps that would cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars to get all those amps and all of those pedals and all of those sounds. That's not really practical, right? So you can sample all of those things, and then you can hone in on what it is you really like, and this will let you do that. So if this might be this along with the where'd it go? I don't know. With maybe like an equalizer pedal, an EQ pedal, might just totally do the trick for you long term. Why not? I'm interested to see how it works out once I get this fixed. Or it might let you identify what it is that where you want to put your money. If you want to buy something bigger and better, like an AC-15, for example, or a Marshall, or a Fender or amp, or whatever it is. In that respect, these things can save you money. I'm going to stop talking now. I hope you found this video useful, and please do remember this video was brought to you by Tomoki's fantastic magical honey mustard dressing, only for the uber privileged like myself. Oh, it even says dressing on it. It says dressing, in case I forget. Right on. Looking forward to that. Alright everybody, enjoy. Especially if you're somebody like me, a hobbyist at home. You're just playing around at home. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. See ya.